Hello my viewers and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to welcome you to a thought-provoking exploration of hidden facts in Black American history that have been obscured over time. Now in this video we look into 3 intriguing facts that challenge conventional narratives. Our journey begins by unraveling the untold stories of Black presidents in the United States, a nuanced perspective that challenges the commonly held belief that George Washington was the first. So join me as we uncover historical truths, debunking myths that have obscured the rich tapestry of Black American contributions to the highest office. Now we'll then venture into the realm of religion, where surprising revelations emerge about the diverse leaders who have shaped spiritual narratives globally. A narrative that extends beyond the familiar accounts, shedding light on the significant role Black leaders played in various faiths, challenging preconceived notions. Lastly, we will explore the enigma of pyramids, uncovering a lesser-known narrative that challenges traditional perspectives on their origin and significance. So prepare for a journey into history's corner often left unexplored, as we unravel the layers of truth embedded in the often overlooked pages of Black American history. I will be right back, but before we get into the video, subscribe and tap on the like button.
And what the last thing they want you to understand is who the original people are, and why the original people are, and where the original people are, and when the original people came. None of that will they teach you. I did promise that I wanted to go over a few things about Black history, but this is present history that will be Black history in the future. When you understand later on, when that satellite went down, they won't tell you it's because of energy coming out of Africa that is coming up now into space and beginning to disturb everything that's running on electricity. Another statement I want to make: electricity is slowed down magnetism. Above electricity and magnetism is what is called orgone energy. Now those are bad words. You don't want to say orgone out here to this government and research scientists, because orgone means original. It's organic. It's organic. It's organic people. And of course they refer to those kind of people as original people. But you do hear a word that's used a lot. It's called aboriginal. Never use that word aboriginal if you are indigenous to the planet. Why? Because it means to abhor the original person. Aboriginal means to abhor the original. To abhor means to hate, to envy, to covet, to dislike. Consequently, the word aboriginal means that you have a dislike for the original person. And the original person, of course, is a person with melanin. That's been proven so many times now that if necessary, I won't spend the time with an audience like you to go into that, but nevertheless. Let me first of all say that when you see Obama, you're seeing Alexander Hamilton. Raise your hand if you remember anything at all about Alexander Hamilton. Let me just see your audience here if I can. Anything about Alexander? That's a few of you, not many. Alexander Hamilton was Secretary of the Treasury back in the 1700s, and Alexander Hamilton was a Black man. Now, when you read the history books, he was Secretary of the Treasurer, and if you see on your $10 bill, you see a caucasized looking person with long flowing hair and so on and so forth. Actually, Alexander Hamilton looked much like Brother Obama to be his brother. And I have a picture which you can appreciate from here, and I didn't bring my slides. I didn't do that. I didn't know I had that privilege again. But you will see it. I'll try to make some copies before I leave town if possible. If not, you can write to our center and give it. This is a picture on your right of Obama, or I'm sorry, Alexander Hamilton, and a picture of Alexander Hamilton as they want you to think he looked. And if you look at him as he actually looked, you will see he looks so much like Obama, it's a shame. And Hamilton was duo with Aaron Burr. The real reason was because they didn't like him because he was controlling the currency, trying to set the United States back on a gold standard, had a lot of influence in politics, and was going nation over the seas, and many people were respecting him. Consequently, they offed him, supposedly with a duel over a woman. And this is that one. The same thing could happen again in history if it goes away, because they look too much alike. Nobody's made that comparison, and it just opens up the box for many other comparisons too. We've already had 6 black presidents. 7 if you include John Hanson, who was president before George Washington. So when you're teaching in school that the first president of the United States was George Washington, that's a big lie. He was president of the Continental Congress, and this is when the indigenous people here were teaching them how to run a country. And one of the most indigenous people they could find, of course, was John Hanson, who was re-elected twice, which means if you want to say he served 2 terms, you can almost say we had a president before George Washington that was black 2 times. There were 7 people elected during that particular time. All of that has been erased out of history, and therefore we start off with the first lie in misnomer that the first president of the United States of America was George Washington. It was not. Under the Constitutional Congress, it was John Hanson. But even in so, when we're now looking at least talking about presidents again, we've had 7 if you're going to include John Hanson, 6 if you're not going to include him. One was Thomas Jefferson. He was part Indian. He really knew this and never denied it too much again. And of course, his wife really, without marrying her, was Sally Hemings. And if you read about the whole story of Sally Hemings and what happened there and how, again, they were lovers on the side, if you will, that takes care of it. It could go much deeper than I do on the tapes. Another was Warren Gamil Harding. And Warren Harding, of course, also had a wife on the side called Dora Wilburn. His his mother was Elizabeth Harding. His mother was Elizabeth Madding until she married a Harding. She was already, again, a mulatto, if you want to call it. And his great-grandmother was Elizabeth Harding herself. So you had Elizabeth Madison and Elizabeth Harding. One of the books by J.A. Rogers, a person who was supposed to be unlettered, and I learned more from him than I did from most of the professors that chose to teach me black history. And this is a picture, although you can't see it from there. It shows, again, Warren Harding's father, and you can see he's a very definite black man. Warren Gamil Harding, of course, then was a black president. We want to say me can't deal with that either because I don't know what it means. So consequently, we just say he was a person of African ancestry, or at least a person that had melanated blood, if you would. We also get into Calvin Coolidge. Nobody likes to talk with that one too much, but he was an indigenous. He was part Blackfoot and part Cherokee, and many say that he was part of the Menominee tribe. Well, the reason why they say Menominee, that's just a way of evading it, is because amongst the Menominee, you can get somebody looking as white, all the way down as black and black. The Menominee are mixed indigenous people. How they got that way is a long story. That's very metaphysical, but that's what you can find amongst the Menominee. You're really just saying, well, I don't know, so therefore we'll give him a title of that. And of course, their names are not Indians because Columbus thought that he went to India. So even the people, and I've taught at some of the American Indian school there for a while, it's another one of the things the Creator has had me to do, they don't even know what to call themselves. They still call themselves Indians. They were never called Indians. They were called by the tribe they were, or indigenous. And as I say again, never confuse indigenous with aboriginal. Andrew Jackson was the hardest one I had in trying to research. I'd heard rumors through J.A. Rogers and other scholars that I went to school with. So I got on the radio and almost got in trouble with that one, so it made me just study some more. I don't give up easily. I'm pretty tenacious once I get the scent. And I had the scent there. So what I found out was that Andrew Jackson was born on the Crawford Farm, which was in Virginia, and he was born 14 months after his father. There were no on the farm, and his oldest brother, Hamilton, was sold as a slave, which later on he had to free. Both had the same mother and supposedly the same father. But then I did even more research because they got on my case about it, and I found out that in Ireland he was part of the area where the black Celts live, the Black Irish. Black Irish are just that. They're very dark skinned. They live near the water area again, and they're called Black Irish because of that. So I have to definitely include him now, and I don't back off of that. Another, of course, was Abraham Lincoln. And, of course, the famous thing of freeing a slave was Sailor Yoden, and by God, filled his slaves. Well, he should have been because he was one. In fact, the swarthy texture of his skin, which simply means colored rather than texture, there were people who served him as servants who were lighter in complexion than Abraham Lincoln was. One of the reasons he was assassinated was because he was black. But that's not the only reason. He tried to set the United States back on the gold standard. Kennedy made the same mistake because of what they call the globalists in the Federal Reserve. You just don't do that. But that's another whole story. Abraham Lincoln's father, who was Thomas Lincoln, had married Nancy Hank. And Nancy Hanks' father was a black man. Mother was a white woman. But therefore, automatically, he had to be part black or part African or swarthy complexion, whatever you would. Her mother was Lucy Hanks. Pictures of Lucy Hanks are everywhere. No doubt his mother and his grandmother were both black people, black women. The last one that I want to deal with is Dwight David Eisenhower. And Dwight David Eisenhower, who warned us about the militia takeover and told you about the industrial complex and better watch it again, he should very well know. Dwight David Eisenhower, when married a woman, well, his mother, he was Dwight David Eisenhower. David Eisenhower was his father. Dwight was him. Dwight had married what they called the Aleutian Brethren. These were a group of people who believed in interracial marriage because of religion, that all people should be one. And I have pictures of that. I didn't bring it. I don't like to travel with stuff nowadays. I get stopped almost everywhere I go. So that's one that will stay there. I would have brought a replicate, but I said no, I didn't. But that can be gotten again through our website, or if you want to contact the Medical Center itself. 18th Dynasty Egypt, which is one that everybody should remember because that was the last time when extraterrestrials and terrestrials mated and ruled a kingdom over in Egypt. That's what the Great Pyramids were based about too. They've told you all wrong on the Great Pyramids until recently because they told you it's a burial place, and there's not one pyramid over in the Giza Plateau that was ancient that was ever used as a burial ground. You've had some lesser kings that tried to emulate that, and it was buried there. It was not. There was generators. There was Oregon energy generators, and that's why they're coming active again. If you've been over there recently, you'll find out there's a humming and a beat in the ground around there. The first thing you have to adapt to when you now go into modern Egypt is staying asleep at night with that boom, boom, boom. It's like a humming going on there. If you remember, Andre Sawas over there, who is a curator, has built a wall around some of that area because they're still doing research now because they don't want you to understand the following thing. Granite structures, which contain piezoelectricity, and pyramids around the earth now are beginning to give off a resonant, a hum, a vibration. They're tuning into the new planetary vibration, and they don't want you to understand that. That's why now crystals are hard to get. Try to get some good crystals nowadays, big ones, and watch what you have to go through, especially if you get a bunch of them, because they now can generate that new energy, which can be very helpful to you if you understand how to use them, and they don't want you to know it. But granite, pyramid-shaped structures around our earth are beginning to give off a humming, vibrational resonance. Birds can hear it, animals can hear it, you can hear it too if you have melanin, and if you can get the drugs out of your system, you begin to feel it. Also, people now that have melanin can feel a tension and a higher vibration. It's like an uneasiness that's going on. People say, well, can't you sense it? Well, if you don't have melanin, it's hard to sense anything. This is where the problem comes in. We have a people who list when it comes to spirituality, trying to direct you, or spiritual people having a hard time with their reality. It's a matter of what you think is real and what is a fact of what is real. When you look at the history books about religion, you will find that there have been 13 people who have led religions around this planet, all of them black, except the one that heads the Christian religion. Isn't that a statement? But it's true. All of them black. Some of the titles that they're given even means black, which is also very interesting again. When you begin to check out in history again and you find Buddha, which is supposed to be an Oriental god, Buddha, if you would. Buddha means Buddha. It's a hail the black. Buddha is woolly-haired. You've never seen a straight-haired Buddha, no matter where you went to. You all have the big hara, as they call it again. And it represents a black person leading a religion. When you begin to look amongst what would be called the Japanese, they have Zahira. Zahir and Fuhai, which are sometimes interchanged, are both black ancient gods of the people now who worship there, if you would. When you begin to look at Scandinavia, because people say again, well, in Scandinavia you can't get anything there, you have King Tyr, or the god Tyr, T-Y-R, always shown as pug-nosed, big-lipped, big-eyed. looking what we now connotate as being Negro. And this is in Scandinavia, but you never see this again. When you go down to Mexico and you go down to some of the areas there in the, you might have called in the south of our border again, you have Quetzalcoatl and Ixtilton. Ixtilton and Quetzalcoatl always were shown as being dark with feathers showing wing flight. Either they had feathers as a headdress around their waist. Ixtilton just was shown as just a black person, period. These are two of the Mexican and South American gods, all of them, both of them, being black.
Now, after immersing ourselves in these eye-opening revelations, it's crucial to reflect on the implications of these obscured facts in shaping a more comprehensive understanding of history. By acknowledging the diverse contributions of Black leaders, presidents, religious figures, and the intriguing connections to Asian civilizations, we invite a broader conversation about representation, historical accuracy, and the importance of inclusivity and shared narratives. Let's engage in a dialogue that extends beyond the confines of this video, challenging ourselves to seek a more inclusive and nuanced understanding of history. So join the conversation, share your thoughts, and together let's foster a more complete and accurate portrayal of the multifaceted tapestry that is Black American history. Now, as we unravel the layers of history, it becomes evident that these overlooked facts are not mere curiosities, but crucial components in understanding the complexities of Black American contributions. Beyond the surface, each revelation prompts us to reconsider the narratives we've accepted and the voices that have been marginalized. These revelations call for a reassessment of education curricula, historical narratives, and public discourse. By acknowledging the Black leaders who shaped the presidency, the spiritual landscape, and even Asian civilizations, we are challenged to create a more inclusive, accurate, and empowering historical narrative. In the aftermath of this exploration, let's strive for a collective commitment to amplify diverse voices, celebrate overlooked achievements, and pave the way for a more equitable understanding of history. This journey doesn't end with a video. It's an invitation to continue seeking, learning, and reshaping our perspectives together. Now, the notion that George Washington was the first president of the United States is a widely accepted historical fact. However, a closer examination reveals a more nuanced truth. Throughout American history, there were individuals of African descent who held the office of president in various capacities, but their stories have been obscured. From figures like John Hanson to Thomas Jefferson, this revelation challenges us to reconsider the narrative of the presidency and acknowledge the diverse leaders who have shaped the nation. Now, while the mainstream historical narrative often highlights George Washington as the first president of the United States, a closer examination reveals intriguing aspects about Black individuals who held leadership roles in the early history of the nation. John Hanson, 1721 to 1783. John Hanson is often regarded by some historians as one of the first presidents of the Continental Congress under the Articles of Confederation. Serving from 1781 to 1782, Hanson played a crucial role in the early governance of the United States. Recognizing his contributions prompts us to reconsider the traditional narrative of the presidency and acknowledge the diversity of leaders who influenced the country's foundational years. Thomas Jefferson, 1743 to 1826. Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, is known for drafting the Declaration of Independence. What's less emphasized is that Jefferson was of partial African descent. His mother is believed to have had African ancestry. This connection challenges preconceived notions and highlights the complexity of racial identity among prominent historical figures. Abraham Lincoln and others. Abraham Lincoln, the revered 16th president, had a complex relationship with race. Some historical theories suggest that Lincoln might have had African ancestry through his maternal line. Additionally, other figures in U.S. history like Warren G. Harding are said to have had African ancestry. These revelations underscore the intricate and interconnected nature of American history. While the evidence supporting the African ancestry of these figures may vary in certainty, exploring this possibilities encourages a broad examination of the diverse backgrounds of individuals who played pivotal roles in shaping the early United States. These nuances challenges us to reassess our understanding of the nation's leadership, recognizing the complexity of racial identity and the diverse contributions of individuals throughout American history. Now, exploring the global history of religious leadership unveils a surprising reality. Numerous influential religious figures were Black, contributing significantly to various faiths. From spiritual leaders in African religions to Islamic scholars and leaders, this fact broadens our understanding of religious history. It emphasizes the need to revisit and expand our knowledge of religious leaders, ensuring a more inclusive portrayal that reflects the diversity inherent in spiritual journeys worldwide. Now, there were so many Black people who contributed to religion. Among them is an Ethiopian slave who became one of the earliest converts to Islam and a close companion of Prophet Muhammad. Known for his unwavering faith and dedication, he holds a revered place in Islamic history as the first muezzin caller to prayer. His story exemplifies the diversity within early Islamic communities and challenges common perceptions about religious leadership. Another one is a prominent Pentecostal evangelist, founded the International Church of the Foursquare Gospel. As a charismatic preacher and faith healer, she played a significant role in the Pentecostal movement during the early 20th century. Her leadership challenges stereotypes about the racial and gender makeup of religious figures in Christian traditions. Desmond Tutu, a South African Anglican bishop, gained international acclaim for his role in the struggle against apartheid, awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1984. Tutu exemplifies a powerful figure who combined religious leadership with social justice advocacy. His legacy underscores the global impact of Black religious leaders and their contributions to humanitarian causes. 1892 to 1975. Haile, Emperor of Ethiopia, is a central figure in the Rastafari movement, revered by Rastafarians as the earthly representation of God. Selassie's influence extends beyond Ethiopia. The Rastafari movement emphasized spiritual connection and social justice, showcasing the significant role Black leaders play in shaping religious movements. Now, exploring all these diverse religious leaders provides a glimpse into the rich tapestry of global spirituality. By acknowledging the contributions of individuals from different backgrounds, we challenge prevailing stereotypes and foster a more inclusive understanding of religious history. We have come to the end of the video. What do you, my viewers, have to say? Share your comments, views, and contributions down below in the comment section. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.